Hello everyone. I just realized that I got 13 wrong, so I'm going to go over it. I'm sorry for that. So, a decrease in the price level shift the bid curve to the right and the aggregate demand curve did. So, in this question, when we are thinking about price level, we must think about the theory of liquidity balance. Like that. So always remember to graph the y and x axis, you can better understand what's going on. So in this case, real money balance, interest rate, money supply, money demand. Okay. So when there's a decrease in price level, when P is decreasing, the entire thing is going up. Which means that the interest rate is going down from R1 and R2, right? Of course, it affects the M curve. So remember to going down. So this was LM1, this was LM2, right? Going down. It's kind of ugly, but you know, like the general idea. Okay. So right now, when there's a decreasing in price level, it makes the M curve going downward. So C and D can be the possible answers. So how does the change of price affecting the aggregate demand curve? So actually, I want to tell you guys the answer that changing the price level does not affect the aggregate demand curve. The aggregate demand curve. Why? It is because we need to think about the y and x axis of the aggregate demand curve. It's actually price and output, right? I forgot to mention one thing, is that when we are deriving the aggregate demand curve, we have to think about the IS also. We always have to think about the IS and LM curve. So here is the IS curve, right? And we are going to name LM1 has a price level of P1. And LM2 has a price level of P2. Because the price level is changing. When there's a decrease in price level, it makes the LM curve going down. However, when the interest rate is going down, it also affects the IS curve because when interest rate is going down, the investment is going up, right? The investment is going up. So what does it affect the Y? It is actually increasing Y. So Y is going from this point, we call it point B, and this is point A. We go from point B to the new point named point C right here. So from A to C, we see a decrease in interest rate and also an increase in income Y. Income Y. Okay. So aggregate demand curve is actually a summary of what happens in this when we are decreasing the price level. Recalling, when we are decreasing the price level, right, we are actually increasing the money supply. Which shifts the vertical line money supply to the right. So when money supply is shifting to the right, the interest rate here is going down. When interest rate is going down, we can see there's a shifting of M curve downward. And because of IS curve, there is an increase in Y. So the model of aggregate demand is actually the summary of price level between price level and income Y. So to wrap up, we can say when price level going down, income Y is going up. Recalling the aggregate demand has a y-axis of P and the x-axis of Y. When price is decreasing, the income is increasing. So we can see they are negative related. So this is how you generate the aggregate demand curve. So back to the question, it says a decrease in price level, shifting the LM curve to the right. Because when we are seeing LM curve downward, we are actually saying that the LM curve is also shifting to the right. So both of them are valid. So LM curve is also shifting to the right. So, and the aggregate demand curve does not change because shifting the price level increases Y. So every price point depends on P and Y. So depends on P. So we can say that the M curve does not shift. So the answer is D for this question. I also want to mention one thing. So you guys can better see the comparison between the price level, the change of price level and change of M in this case, okay? So I'm going to use a new paper so that I can better explain this thing so you guys can understand it. So recalling when there's a shift in P that causes a shift in LM. Actually, we can shift in M and also shifting in LM, right? This is the graph again. So always remember to label everything so you can understand what is going on. So now we are going to shift M and see what happens, right? When we're increasing M, the same thing. M is going to increase. And interest rate is going to decrease, right? As usual. So of course M curve is going to shift downward, right? Because interest rate is decreasing. This is self-explanatory. Okay, so when there's an M curve, we're shifting the interest rate to here, and because of y equals to c plus I plus g. When interest rate is decreasing, that means investment is going up and y is going up. So M curve is shifting here, and IS curve does not change. So move to point B from A. So we're going to move to point C as y is increasing from y1 to y2. So in this case, for the aggregate demand curve, what happens is that aggregate demand shifts. Aggregate demand shifts because y is increasing from y1 to y2, and P does not change as we didn't do anything for P. So here, P stay the same. P1, this is also P1, right? So P is always P1. So they don't change. To wrap up, changing of price, shifting, change in price, shifting in LM, but it does not change the aggregate demand. Shifting money supply, shifting LM, but shifting aggregate demand. That's it. And I hope you guys understand it. And I hope I can see you later.